Drawings and doodles I did in my college notebooks, part 2. Hi, how are you? So a few months ago, I posted a video talking about drawings I did in my college notebooks when I was in photography school in San Francisco in the early 2000s. I wanted to go back in time, 10 years with you, and show you the doodles and drawings I did in my college notebooks in the early 90s when I was in college, going to studying acting in college at the University of Portland. And so I've been looking through my notebooks and seeing all the drawings I did and scanning them so I could show you them. And it's really interesting because drawings at that time, well, drawings at any time, it captures a moment in your life. What you were going through, what you were thinking, who you were at that time. And it's kind of like I said in the last video, it's kind of like handwriting analysis, but it's drawing analysis, it's doodle analysis. And it's just really interesting to see, because I've got all my college notes that I'm taking the notes from the classes and whatever the professor is saying or writing on the chalkboard. But I also have all these drawings in the corners when I was bored or I just needed a break from what the professor was saying and I just needed to draw something. And it's just really interesting to see what I was going through at that time, what I was choosing to draw, and my skill level at drawing, which is still not very great. So, but anyway, let's go back in time and we can take a look at these and talk about them. So this first picture, or this first drawing, is from 1990, the fall of 1990. This is from philosophy class. And it's a circle with some lines and some dots. And this is basically the kind of stuff that I would draw. Some lines and shapes. I draw a lot of shapes. I didn't draw a lot of people. But here's an interesting one, also in the fall of 1990. I had gone through a breakup at the time, and I don't know if I drew this for a reason, whether it was conscious or unconscious, but I drew this heart because there was 2 pieces of paper here, and one was ripped in half. And so I drew a heart right where the 2 pieces of paper were different, right? So one was cut in half, and then there's the paper behind it, and I drew a heart over both of them, and then you could separate the 2 pieces of paper showing a broken heart. And it was just really interesting to see that, because I know at that time I had just gotten over like one of my first big relationship at that time, and it lasted 5 months. And but then we separated, once I started going to college at a different college, and so I was going through the whole breakup thing, and I drew this heart. And it's just really interesting to go back and look and say, oh my gosh, maybe that's why I drew it, is because I was going through it. Or maybe just randomly I drew a heart and I didn't realize the 2 pieces of paper were different. But anyway, I thought that was just really interesting. So then we go to the spring of 1991, and I've got these drawings. I was studying theater at the time, so I think that drawing on the right is a stage, and that for some reason I put trees in there because I like drawing trees. I could draw trees. I'm not a very good drawer, so I can't draw faces and all kinds of really impressive stuff, but I could draw shapes and I could draw lines, so I could draw some trees. And so that's what I drew. And then I drew these shapes, and then that dude with the hair. If I can find my high school notebooks, I would show you this. I drew this character called Tommy Stud. That's what his name. And he wore glasses, and he had spiky hair, and he kind of looked like Max Headroom from the 80s, if you know who that is. But my character had spiky hair, and he would like be in these crazy dance poses. And I think this is my version of Tommy Stud from college. Anyway, and I think this is the only time I show this character, that I drew this character in college. It's the only picture I could find of him. So anyway, there's that. And then, this was from Intro to Religion class. I went to University of Portland, which is a Catholic college. I'm not Catholic, but I basically didn't know what college to go to, and they had a theater program, so I went there. And it was a private Catholic university, and so we had to take a religion class every semester. And so I took all kinds of religion classes. And this was Intro to Religion, and that's where all these drawings are from here. So I would draw the United States. I remember seeing Saturday Night Live, and on one of the episodes, there was somebody during one of the news sketches that drew the United States, freehand, drew all the states. And I thought that was so impressive. So I tried to learn how to draw all the states, but I never got past Minnesota or Iowa or the whole Midwest. I couldn't. I could draw the shapes of the big blocks, but the East Coast, to memorize the shapes of all those states, I found it a lot more difficult. But I could get as far as Minnesota. And so you'll see a few times that I draw the United States in some of these my classes here. And I also drew this picture of a circle with some lines and some shapes in. I don't know what I was drawing there. And this, of course, I think is a lightsaber. And then we're still in Intro to Religion here. I drew a dog, and I drew a star, and I drew some shapes. I don't know what those are all about, but any kind of lines and shapes and circles and kind of stuff like that, that was kind of like maybe abstract. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe I would like Picasso paintings. I don't know. But I just kind of drew abstract stuff. And then I don't know what this is. I drew a line, and then I just kept drawing more lines. That was just weird. And, you could probably look at this and, okay, so here I know what we are. We're in London now. Okay, and then we'll go back. But so, started University of Portland in 1990. Then in the spring of 91, I was with the theater department, and we went to London for a month. And so we went to Stratford-upon-Avon, where Shakespeare lived, and then we went to London and spent a month there just seeing play after play. We went to the Barbican and all these other little they're not off Broadway, but off London. all these shows in London. We saw a lot of plays. And I had a notebook, and I would draw in the notebook. So this is one of the pictures I drew in my London notebook in the summer of 1991, and I don't know what it means. And then we got some more shapes. I don't know what those are all about. And then, okay, this is a picture. This is also in my London notebook. I remember in high school, there was a girl who was in love with me, but I was not in love with her. And I was in love with another girl, but she didn't love me. She was in love with some other guy, but he didn't love her. He was in love with another girl. And it just seemed like there was this progression, unrequited love, where somebody loves somebody loves somebody else. I think there's a Cheap Trick song that, you love her and you love her and she loves somebody else, and, you just can't win. I think that's some like the lyrics. But this picture kind of symbolizes that. Everybody is in love with somebody who doesn't love them back. I think that's what I was kind of saying with this picture here. That's really interesting that I have that. Anyway, this other picture is I think there was kind of trying to draw auras, the energy of a person and the energy around that person and the energy around that energy, and that's what kind of that is. And then, okay, so in London, we went on a trip to Paris, and we took some kind of train from London to Dover, and on Dover, we got on these, the channel had not been built yet. They were still building it. So it had not been completed yet. The channel that's at the end of the Tom Cruise Mission Impossible movie, where they go in the channel, the helicopter flies in there. That wasn't built yet. That wasn't completed. So we got on these hydrofoil things. They were like boats, but they had these huge inner tubes around them and these huge fans in the back, and they just they zoomed across the channel between United Kingdom and France. And we got on those and then went to Paris. And I guess when we were on the train going from London to Dover, I would take my pen and just try to draw a line while the train was moving. And I got these squiggly lines. So those are the lines I drew on the train to show the movement of the train from London to Dover. That's what that's all about. So when we were in Paris, I went to the Eiffel Tower. We were there for just a week, and we were just a couple of days. We were walking around Paris, and we saw Notre Dame, we saw the Eiffel Tower, and we went to a bunch of other places, and it was just really cool, and I've never been back there, and I really would love to go back. So we were in Paris for a few days, and I went up the Eiffel Tower, and I did a drawing. I put this piece of paper, on the floor of the Eiffel Tower, and it says right here, the front entrance, in front of the elevators on the second floor of the Eiffel Tower at 7:50 p.m. on May 31st, 1991. That's what I drew. And I just did an etching of the floor pattern of the Eiffel Tower. And that's what that is. And I don't know, that's really cool. Anyway, what do you think of that? I think that's just really cool. It kind of captured that moment. I remember being on the Eiffel Tower and all I could think about was, man, I really want to go watch that movie, James Bond, View to a Kill. Because I remember that scene on the Eiffel Tower and it was like, oh, I'm really here. This is really happening. And also from not Back to the Future 2, Superman 2. You know, when he fights the 3 villains, but he saves Lois on the Eiffel Tower. Anyway, those are what I was thinking about when I was on the Eiffel Tower. Anyway, this is also a picture of me at the Eiffel Tower. And then we'll go back, because back in 1991, before I went to London, I was drawing, I guess I drew this character. I don't know who this is. Some dude, and then some lines. And then I also drew this superhero character, and I took this during Shakespeare class. So this is 91. So let's go to 1992. I hope you're enjoying this. This is fun for me to go back and look. Anyway, if you're into sci-fi, this is probably a familiar spaceship. And then there's a line with an arrow. I don't know, just some doodle. And then what else was I drawing? I was drawing lightning bolts and, I don't know, a light bulb or something. This I drew, I guess it's a picture of a globe with the years I had been alive. I was born in 71, so 72, 73, and I just put a little squares for every year I'd been living. And that's what that is. More doodles. I don't know what these doodles are. That's a weird one. Okay. Summer of 91, I think, is when Alien 3 came out. 92 is when Bram Stoker's Dracula came out. So this was still, we're in 92 now. Okay, so 92 is when Alien 3 came out. What else came out? Batman Returns came out that year. So I may have been doodling. That may have influenced my doodles. So also, what else we got here? There's a dude in a room and a tree and some other stuff. There's a chair, random doodles. Nathan's spider theory. I don't know what this is. I don't know what I was trying to say. I think I was trying to say something really deep that, you know, we do something and then whatever our, action is ricochets across the lives of other people, or maybe we know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. Anyway, some kind of center that goes outward. I don't know what I was trying to say. I don't remember what Nathan's spider theory was, but there it is. Okay. More doodles. Spaceship in space. Cool. Another spaceship. Random stuff, random doodles. And we're still in 1992. This is philosophy and psychology class. There's a familiar spaceship, you probably know, some chairs, some different angles of looking at chairs and houses and random doodles. Oh, okay. This was so I could memorize Abbott and Costello's Who's on First, because my roommate and I, for theater class, for the banquet, year-end banquet, we pretended to do Abbott and Costello's Who's on First routine. Who's on first? What's on second? I don't know who's on third. And to memorize it, I drew this so I could remember who's on first. What's on second? Today is at home. No, what's on home? Tomorrow's pitching, I don't know, is shortstop, why is in the outfield, and because in the outfield. And anyway, we got it down so good. We could banter back and forth, who's on first, what's on second. And we got it down so tight and good, our delivery on that. And it killed. Everybody just loved it. It was great. And I promptly forgot it. But I remember doing Abbott and Costello's Who's on First. If you've never heard Abbott and Costello's Who's on First, it's the funniest classic routine ever. And you should totally check it out. More drawings of the United States. And let's move on to 1993. So this is in Christian social ethics class. Circles, television with a familiar spaceship, doodles, more doodles, and a piano. I don't know what that is. A goose? Did I draw a goose? Then there's some more doodles. Yeah, just random. I mean, you can see that I just like shapes and lines, and I don't know what that says. It's just basically my mind on paper. That's all it is. that's what, came out. You just don't think, you just draw. Some of you could probably relate to that. More circles. I don't know what I thought this was really cool. I think I did this a few times. I draw a half circle at the corner of the page and then an arrow. And I don't know why. I don't know what it means, but I thought the corner of the page is a good place to draw something. And that's what that is. And I only found that once. I thought I did that more. More stuff. Some people with a sword. Piano, because I was playing piano sometimes. So I was playing Hamlet at the spring of 1993. I got to play Hamlet on stage. And so this is where my mind was. And I drew Hamlet and the little guys sword fighting, because we had to learn this sword fight. And I think I told you in another video the time my pumpkin pants broke and I had to hold my pants up while I was sword fighting one night. And it was a scene, man. And so that's that. And then 93, more doodles, more doodles. So this is math class. Oh my God, I hated math class because I'm a creative person and I swear numbers. I mean, I know 2 + 2, but once you start introducing letters, I'm lost. And it might be really easy for you. It's like, Nathan, why can't you understand the letters? You can do algebra. It's like, oh, it's such a struggle for me to do math. And I got so bored. And so I guess I drew a picture of me being bored and yawning in my math class. Oh, that's funny. And then more doodles with a planet. And oh, I love this. I made a black hole out of the notebook hole. And just doodle around the hole. You can use what's on the notebook. I would use the lines. I would use the holes. I would use the little metal things and the perforated edge as like stuff to make drawings from. So that's kind of incorporated in there. I love drawing a circle with a line shooting out of it, kind of like an arrow hits a target. For some reason, I just loved that, and I've drawn that a lot. And a tree caught in the wind, breaking off in the wind. I don't know what that was about. It's very rare that I told a story in my drawings, but that's a story. That's a moment. I'm drawing something happening. Action, not just a drawing, but something happening. That's rare. So that's cool that I drew that. Viking ship. People, this is a person. I don't know who this is. I think this is just a character I made up. And I really like drawing a point and then circles around the point. I don't know what that is, but I just really like that. And a sand clock thing. More pictures of the United States. A rocket. More doodles, and more doodles, more doodles, more doodles, and then I think that is the Devil's Tower from the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I think that's what I was trying to draw there. Oh, I love that movie. And then right below that, there's, I must have been on a Steven Spielberg kick right there because I drew Indiana Jones with the snake. And that's what that is. I don't know, doodle. Space doodles and a film projector projecting a dude with a sword. Cool. More doodles. More doodles. Okay, so this is metaphysics class. We're almost at the end here. So this is 1993. I still won't graduate for another year. But I was playing Tartuffe by Moliere. That's the character I was playing at the time, and so I guess my mind was on Moliere. So this is a page. I rarely had a page with just pictures on it. So this is what this is. I don't know who she is, but she's got a Walkman on because we didn't have iPods or phones or anything like that. We had the cassette tape that went in the Walkman that you hooked to your belt and you put the headphones on. So she's wearing those, listening to music with the word Tartuffe around, and there's a piano and a maze, more doodles. And that, my friends, is the end of my drawings from my college notebooks from 1990 to 1993. And it was just really fun to go through my notebooks and look at all that and to see what I drew and maybe why I was drawing it, what was on my mind, see kind of my personality at the time. I really like lines and circles and shapes and occasionally drawing stories. And anyway, I'm curious what you think of all that. Can you surmise my personality just from the drawings? Can you relate to drawing in your notebooks? Did you draw in your notebooks in class when you were bored, or the teacher said something that inspired you and you drew it? And what does it say about your personality? I'm curious what your thoughts are on drawings in your notebooks in class. Anyway, thanks for watching this, and we'll do this again. Maybe I'll go find some drawings and some more notebooks. Anyway, I really appreciate watching this and hanging out with me, and hopefully you got something entertaining out of this. Have a great day and have a great week. I'll see you next time. I should doodle more. I really should keep doodling. I haven't doodled in a while. When's the last time you doodled?